the Enneagram of Personality, Myers-Briggs Temperament Indicator, and the 16 Basic Desires aren't just psychological tools. They're your secret weapons for crafting compelling character backstories. Why focus on these? Because the character's backstory needs to be relevant, not exhaustive. It should anchor their core misbeliefs, the why behind their actions. Take Devil May Cry, for instance. Virgil believes power is the sole protector against vulnerability, a misbelief stemming from the night demons destroyed his life. His brother Dante, however, sees isolation as his shield. This divergence? It's all down to their different Enneagram types, shaping their responses to the same traumatic event. The Enneagram teaches that each personality type develops in response to a specific childhood wound, a core emotional need that was not met during early life. This wound shapes our fears, desires, and motivations as we grow. It's not necessarily about a single event. It's more about a consistent theme or feeling experienced during childhood that influences how we see the world and ourselves. For Virgil, the wound he experienced was feeling he had to reject his childhood. Type 8s develop how they do because they feel they have no choice but to grow up quickly. They conclude that showing vulnerability, aka being soft, will result in them being hurt, rejected, or betrayed. Even if they don't experience anything traumatic, they conclude this based on some event that becomes their ghost. The way you can use this to your advantage as a writer is simple. Reverse engineer. First, identify the character's Enneagram type to understand their core motivations. Second, research the typical childhood wound that fuels their fears and desires. Third, craft an event that would serve as the misbelief's origin story based on that research. Then link that origin story to their actions and decisions in the story. If you do want to flesh out other events beyond that, I recommend Myers-Briggs. While each person's life is their own, it contains patterns found with each type from childhood to adolescence, which you can use for inspiration. For example, I once read that adolescent ENTJs tend to have a wide and varied group of friends and may be drawn to counterculture ideas or behaviors. And because of this, things like theater often become a haven for them. I used this when creating a bit more of my protagonist Cassidy's backstory. I had the Phantom Thief archetype already, so having a theater background helped further explain where certain skills come from. Furthermore, it helped provide the exact spot where she met Rebecca, which helped me figure out how certain pieces fell into place for the present story. To note, because someone might say it, you don't have to believe in this stuff as real. None of that matters because characters aren't real. They're pseudo-people. And it's all about leveraging whatever tool helps you make them feel real. As for the 16 Basic Desires role, it's useful because it's relationship with the 3 dimensions of character. As you'll notice with the system I designed, I use everything to fill in the first layer and third layer. Then I focus on figuring out what in the second layer would bridge the gap between the two. What experiences would result in someone with this desire profile ending up in whatever role I have them playing in the plot. It's basically a way for me to judge the value of each event I decide upon in a backstory, when not figuring out what they might have been drawn to in the first place. Anyway, feel free to ask questions if any of this doesn't make sense to you or you'd like some help applying it. And if you haven't seen the whole character construction method yet, get started watching the playlist as I break down the logic of each part step by step.